everyone knows that the first time humans landed on the moon was when Armstrong took his first step on the moon in 1969. According to NASA, there is no life on the moon, and there is no evidence of a civilization. However, there have been rumors that Armstrong saw a spaceship during the Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969. He was so surprised that he reported it to NASA. NASA even cut off the live broadcast of the moon landing and switched to the medical channel to suppress the incident. Recently, I saw a quote in a book called Our Cosmic Ancestors. Just before Armstrong stepped off the ladder of the lunar module, two unidentified flying objects were circling above them. Another astronaut, Edwin Aldrin, immediately took a picture of the UFO. The photo was also published in the magazine, Modern Man. However, when we search for the magazine article online, we only find a few photos that are said to have been taken by Armstrong or Aldrin. Despite the unclear origin of the image, the author of the book, Maurice Chatelain, is still certain that Armstrong encountered an alien in 1969. He knows this because he was the communications officer responsible for Armstrong's mission to the moon. Strangely, in a documentary filmed in 2006, Buzz Aldrin, who landed on the moon with Armstrong in 1969, also confirmed to the media that they had seen something very strange when they landed on the moon.
Something out there that was close enough to be observed, and what could it be? Mike decided he thought he could see it in the telescope, and when it was in one position, that it had a series of ellipses.
All three astronauts were amazed by what they saw, so they immediately asked NASA if the mysterious object could be a booster rocket that was thrown away during the ascent to the moon. But a few minutes later, NASA gave an unexpected answer.
Apollo 11, Houston, the S-4B is about 6,000 nautical miles from you now, over.
After NASA replied, the three astronauts realized that the elliptical object was definitely not a booster rocket. Because 6,000 miles is equivalent to 9,656 kilometers, and the object in front of them was clearly not that far away, they immediately decided to keep the incident a secret.
Now, obviously, the three of us were not going to blurt out, "Hey, Houston, we got something moving alongside of us, and we don't know what it is." We weren't about to do that, because we know that those transmissions would be heard by all sorts of people. And
This is the astronaut who landed on the moon with Armstrong. He not only confirmed that there was an unidentified flying object following the shuttle and monitoring the entire lunar landing operation, but he also directly confirmed that they would not mention that they saw the object during the live broadcast.
we weren't about to do that, because we know that those transmissions would be heard by all sorts of people. And
On September 16, 1969, the most anticipated press conference in human history finally took place. This was the first press conference after Armstrong returned from the moon landing. Everyone was looking forward to how these three astronauts would describe their unforgettable experience. However, not long after the press conference began, everyone noticed that the expressions on the faces of the three astronauts were unusually serious. Even after that press conference, Neil Armstrong, the first person to set foot on the moon, seemed to avoid any interviews related to the moon. There have always been rumors that the reason Armstrong was so quiet after completing the moon landing mission was that he and his crewmates had seen something unusual during the landing. They were threatened with death if they spoke out, so the three astronauts were saddened and upset. There are a number of reasons why such conspiracy theories exist. After World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union gradually entered the Cold War. The Cold War finally ended with the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. It is also known that the two countries competed in the space race from 1955 to 1972. However, few people know that on September 20, 1963, U.S. President Kennedy publicly declared that he needed to break the deadlock that had existed for a long time and actively cooperate with the Soviet Union.
Where the United States and the Soviet Union have a special capacity in the field of space, there is room for new cooperation, for further joint efforts in the regulation and exploration of space. I include among these possibilities a joint expedition to the moon.
As soon as President Kennedy's speech ended, everyone present was shocked. Some people even doubted whether they had heard him correctly. After all, the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union had been going on for 16 years. Would they really break the deadlock with a moon landing? As expected, more than a month after that speech, President Kennedy issued a draft presidential memorandum to the director of NASA. This is a method by which the president gives orders to the administrative department. In this draft presidential memorandum, Kennedy clearly instructed that the United States would cooperate in space with the Soviet Union and asked the director of NASA to draw up a plan for a joint moon landing with the Soviet Union. At the end of the draft presidential memorandum, Kennedy even required NASA to submit a report on the implementation plan by December 15. At the same time, he sent a copy of this draft presidential memorandum to others, such as the Secretary of Defense and the Director of the Central Intelligence Agency. However, Kennedy could not have imagined that he would not wait for NASA's reply. 10 days after the draft was sent out, President Kennedy was assassinated and died. This led some people to believe that his death was definitely related to the cooperation on the moon with the Soviet Union. Because in addition to this draft presidential memorandum, there is also a leaked top-secret memorandum. This memorandum was sent on the same day as the one sent to NASA, but on this memorandum, Kennedy directly ordered the CIA director to release all documents related to unidentified flying objects. In other words, if the source of the top-secret memorandum is true, then it means that at that time, the CIA had UFO documents that President Kennedy did not have. Therefore, Kennedy ordered them to release the documents. However, the source of this draft memorandum is not officially recognized, so some people believe that this is just an urban legend. But the strange thing is, just a few years ago, Donald Trump also asked Congress to release UFO documents. This leads some people to believe that the US president actually does not have as much access to UFO documents as the heads of important departments. That is to say, there is indeed a certain hand controlling the UFO documents. So, if this document is real, is it possible that Armstrong was also ordered to keep quiet? People have different opinions on this issue. However, we did find a rare video of Armstrong expressing his feelings after landing on the moon. This video was taken in 1994 to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Apollo 11's mission completion. US President Bill Clinton invited Armstrong to attend the event.
Today we have with us a group of students among America's best. To you we say, we have only completed a beginning. We leave you much that is undone. There are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers. There are places to go beyond belief.
What do you think the phrase, "There are truths that can only be seen by people with a far-reaching vision," means? Do you think there are really aliens on the moon? I welcome your comments and shares here. Thank you for watching.